Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast.
Wait a minute.
That's Matt Morrison and Mike Wolfgang. How's it going, guys?
Wait a minute.
It's going.
Yeah, I got here just in time.
Oh, good. What's that hat you're wearing? You got a new hat?
No, same one I wear all the time.
Oh, okay.
Camouflage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What you got
What's
on,
up,
Matt?
everybody? I'm just sitting here.
No,
I
what hat
hung
you
up
got?
my.
No, your hat.
Oh,
you got on?
From the Goose, man.
Oh, that's your boy.
Mike, what do you got repping? We're all repping hats today.
Stanley
Cup
Cup
Pens.
champs, baby.
Pens. Okay.
You know it.
Well,
been sitting here. I finally hung up.
Set up. So somebody here start the show. Let's talk. Let's go ahead. You guys start off with NHL. Go ahead and get your Penguins talk going while I pull up all my stuff on my end.
Go ahead, Matt. Get it out of the way.
Penguins? Yeah, let's get it out of the way. I mean, hey, we can win it tonight. I'm going to try and get back home. I got a game to call, which I were talking to you before. We can, if you want to come, we can go to a bar and watch some of the game if you want to. Or we can go to a restaurant, not a bar. We're good people.
Hey, that doesn't mean we're bad people.
Good people still go to bars.
Yeah, take that back.
Yeah, that is true. All right, I take that back. But we're okay. We'll probably go to a bar. I'm not sugarcoating it. But hey, man. I mean, I'm just rolling with it. I mean, I'll be really happy if we pull this off. But if we lose, I won't be quite upset because I know we'll still be up 3-2, and we can come back home and have another shot. So we basically have 3 more shots to get one more win. So, but I would like to finish them off because I really don't want to mess around with the Rangers. I just want to put them away while we can. So it'd be really, really nice to get them going tonight. I'm not really quite sure about Tristan Jarry yet. Let's take a look.
He's not back yet, but he is close. I think they said
he's back
today.
to practice. I know
yesterday.
that. He's back to doing drills and stuff. So we could potentially have him next series or so. Let's see. It says here he's taking another step towards playoff return.
Well, Matt,
He's facing shots.
I got actually 2 questions, and it's for both teams centered around goalies. First of all, tonight, since we don't, Jarry's not back yet, so I'll ask you this one first. If you're the Rangers, do you stick with Shesterkin or do you make the change to Georgiev? Because I know he's gotten small sample size when he's come in after a lot of goals that Shesterkin allowed, like in both 2 games in Pittsburgh, but he didn't play too bad. I know it's a different sample size, but at this point, you're down 3-1. You got to try anything. So I think they're going to stick with Shesterkin. I think they said that today. They're going to ride that out. But it's desperation mode. If I'm coaching that team, I make a change.
Yeah, I might make a change as well. Or you might just stay with Igor. But the other goaltender, we let him up too. So I say, I don't know. If you want to, it's up to him to start whoever. But I'd be staying with Shesterkin, just to, because he's, they won that first game with him. Maybe he just hasn't been with it, and they know more than we do. So we'll just have to, wait and see.
I get what you're saying too, because he's going to win the award this year. He was the best goalie throughout the whole year. Throughout the National Hockey League. So I get that part of it, but at this point, like I said, it's desperation mode. You're down 3-1. I would try anything. And I think I was going to ask you this question too. Whenever Jarry comes back, what do you do with Domingue? You still ride with Domingue, or do you put Jarry in right away?
You put Jarry in right away. Domingue was just a backup.
But he's held his own, man.
I would possibly take turns with him if Jarry needs a break. He's just coming back. I don't know if you can go 3 or 4 games in a row. Maybe have him start 1 and then start 2 and then give him a break here and there, because the better Domingue is going to get is by playing.
I think that's also important. Why that's important for them to win tonight, because they get an extra day of rest. Carolina won last night, so they're up 3-2 in that series. So that could potentially end. So I think it's big for them to win tonight and get some extra day, 1 or 2 extra day rest, so they can get whatever's going on with Jarry. They keep saying he's close. Get him back healthy and get him another day of rest so he can practice more, get his feet back under him. So I think that's big. I think that's a big reason why they need to win tonight, obviously.
Yeah, it is. They need
I guess I'll give my take on this from outside perspective, not being the Penguins or Rangers fans here. We kind of touched on this yesterday, that Pittsburgh is seemingly not getting phased as much by being tired, or that hasn't hit them yet. I am. Going back here on the road, we saw them take one on the road earlier on in the series. But I think maybe the one thing for me
First
going
game.
in here, first game, New York was able to take that. Pittsburgh took that on the road. Then New York got it back. I think they finally come back here at home, and I find it so hard to believe with as tight as these two teams have been all season, as good as they are, even with injuries that have kind of riddled both teams here a little bit towards the end of the season here in the playoff series. I just don't see the Rangers going down in 5 games. I mean, it's definitely possible, but with the way these teams have both played all season, neither one has really gone on big losing streaks. And outside of the one big stretch for Pittsburgh, they really didn't go on long winning streaks either. So I think you're going to see things even back out here. They're coming back to New York. I think that the Rangers steal a win, make it 3-2. They're going back to Pittsburgh and the series ends, though. I've changed my pick around.
That's a fair statement.
Coming back, but I think Pittsburgh is going to take this at home. I don't think they're getting it on the road. And as you said, they got three more chances to get that one win. So it's pretty good odds that Pittsburgh is going to be able to do that.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Right.
But
I'm cheering for you guys to get your team in. So.
Oh yeah. But I mean it took a lot to get that first road win, and we really needed that to be in the position we are right now. And it took 3 overtimes to do it. Then the next game, they came back and really let us have it.
Yeah.
We lost like 5-2. And I'm like, man, good thing we got that first one. It was a battle. So if we're going to go back into, Madison Square Garden and take this series, we're going to have to go to war. That was a battle. This is war now, because Rangers are going to play even more hard, because this could be their last game. It's going to be insane. They're going to go off the charts, and we're going to have to try and hang on. And hopefully our young goaltender can help with that, and hopefully our guys can get back and help with them.
Hey, Matt, I like how you touched on the importance of that first game. We hit on it last week when they won that game, but it's important because if the Penguins keep winning on home ice like they did in the last 2 games, they don't have to win another game on the road. If they don't have to win the series, they already got their one. If they keep worrying about taking care of business at home, they don't have to win on the road.
My thing is, I don't know if the Rangers are going to be able to win in Pittsburgh, but keep in mind, guys, they know how to make a 3-1 comeback against you guys. Go back to the 2014 second round versus your squad. Going into Game 5 at Pittsburgh, Rangers dominated the Penguins, won it 5-1. Then they go back to New York in Game 6. They win it 3-1. Then they come into Game 7, back in Pittsburgh again, and they go up and they take the series 2-1 in that final go. They also made a 3-1 comeback in 2015 in the second round versus the Capitals. So, this is a team that obviously very different guys at this point, a much younger team than they were back then, is obviously a completely different roster. But I think, the fan base is there. They're going to stay into it. They're not, going to quit on these guys because they've been in this situation here before. So I especially think just being back in Madison Square Garden, the energy that building brings to the sport itself, I think is going to be the deciding factor here tonight. Maybe Pittsburgh lets up a little bit, up 3-1. They kind of take a step back, and that's where the Rangers are going to take advantage tonight.
I see where you're going. They might let up, but they really shouldn't let up.
No, they shouldn't. No one ever should.
Nobody wants to.
You see it happen time and time again. You go back to, the Guardians and Chicago White Sox game the other day. White Sox had a huge lead going into the final inning, and they blow it because they let up a little too soon. So it happens in every sport. 28-3, the Super Bowl. Somebody let up early. So it happens in every sport. Heck, you could even say Golden State against the Cleveland Cavaliers when we made our 3-1 comeback. Golden State let up, and the other team grabbed momentum. All it takes is one game to switch momentum in a series.
How about Golden State the other night? I know it was only one game and they ended up winning, but they overlooked Memphis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is – Go ahead. The main thing is here – I'm sorry. It's important we get Tristan Jarry back, and it's important we get that Ricard Raquel back, who, had that horrible – he got wrecked. Yeah. But, those guys are important. But if we're going to make a deep run – we need Brian Dumoulin, period.
We need Brian Dumoulin, yep.
We need Brian Dumoulin. He's listed as day-to-day, so he's considered to be day-to-day by, Mike Sullivan. So, after 4 seasons, he's been with us about 4 or 5 years. He's been one of the most, you could always go to him to be one of the top defense players on the ice. And probably one of the best we've had, along with Chris Letang. So we need him back.
He pretty much makes Letang better at this stage of Letang's career.
Yeah.
But
he does. I think there was one game where they didn't allow a single goal with those two guys.
Yeah. So. I'm going to pick Penguins to win tonight, but I picked them in 6 games to win the series. So
I did too. I'm going
to stay with that. So. It's going to be hard to win tonight, but I'm still going to pick them anyways. So I guess it kind of changes my series prediction. But one last thing. I don't know if we mentioned on the show yesterday, Matt, but I think after that Game 4 win the other night, Mike Sullivan, that was his 44th playoff win, I think, with the Penguins. That's the most by any coach in franchise history, so it's pretty good.
Wow.
Forgot to mention.
Impressive. All right, well, why don't we go to the next game here in the NHL tonight? Matt's favorite team, the Washington Capitals, taking on Florida in the series that is also.
I have more respect for them than Boston. Oh, can't stand. The only player I really can't stand on Washington is Tom Wilson and probably Oshie too. The other guys are okay. I like Ovechkin, but just I can't stand the whole team of Boston. I can name all their players because I know that I hate them. I can't name half of these Capitals players because I'm like, they're
easy
okay.
Now, Matt. Easy.
All right. Well, flashing back this series so far, recapping it, we've had splits. Both home teams, both road teams have gotten a game on the road. Capitals won Game 1 and Game 3. Panthers have taken all the even games in 2 and 4. So I think going into the night, going back into Florida, I think coming off of the win, I think is big for the Panthers, especially getting one in overtime. And we saw earlier in the NHL playoffs with obviously Pittsburgh and the Rangers that we were talking about a minute ago, how sometimes those overtimes can affect some teams. So I think going back home, sleeping those guys' fancy beds down in Florida, getting some sunshine out of for what was pretty much a rainy Washington all week. I think it's going to be a big turnaround. I think it's going to enthuse those home players. They're going to be ready to go. And I don't know. I just got a feeling the Capitals are going to come out a little slow tonight. They've been a good team. They've put some good runs together here, but I think the Panthers, they've just been so solid all season. It's hard to ever count them out because of the way they have run this whole season. So I got them going at 7:39. I got Panthers taking home the win at home.
Now, to go off what you said, like the season they've had, and it's a very solid season that they've had. I mean, they're number 1 seed, I think.
Yeah, they're one of the favorites to win it.
Yeah, they're one of the favorites to win it too. But I think that's a lot of people are kind of resting on that a little bit. Like, they've had a good year. We can't really see them going down in that first round. But man, Capitals aren't going away easily. I'm going to pick the Panthers. I will, but it's going to take a lot more than saying, hey, we got 58 wins this year. We got it. We're fine. Washington, I mean, they'll kick your butt if you let them. And that they have. They've made this a very nasty-looking series because Florida has kind of let off a little bit. So they just don't mess with the bull, man. They've been getting the horns. That's Washington. They will bite you where it does not feel good.
Man,
Pittsburgh did it. The game I was at, Pittsburgh messed around with them. Washington ended up coming and playing them physically and beating them. Washington's not a team to mess with like this at all.
Matt, I think
none of these Metro teams are. None of them.
I think the thing that makes this series entertaining and 2-2, the closest series that it is so far, is the rosters are both rosters are deep. And they're experience lays on the side of the Capitals because they've made big runs. They made Stanley Cup final runs. They just, a couple years ago they won one. But Matt, with the Capitals side, we talked about Ovechkin and Oshie and the guys that they have. I mean, look at the Panthers. They got Huberdeau and guys like that, and got old man Pat Hornquist that we used to do with us. Barkov's good. This is a pretty deep series on both sides, and I think that's why it's so hard. So far, it's why I know I picked the Panthers to win in 5, but that's kind of why I was kind of thinking maybe 6 because if Ovechkin comes back, it's going to be close. They're a deep team. Right now it's 2-2, but I think the Panthers are going to win tonight. I'll go with both. You picked Capitals or did you pick the Panthers?
I picked Panthers, yeah.
I'm going to go with both you guys. I'm going to pick the Panthers. I think their depth too. I think especially at home tonight, it's going to come out and outweigh itself.
Yeah, I think we've all seen how big home court advantage can be so far on the season.
Oh my!
Especially here in the playoffs. So final series here going on tonight, the 9:30 game. Dallas and Calgary. This one, it's screwing with my differential, man, because both teams have scored 7 goals throughout the first 4 games. Flames and the Stars have each been blanked in one game. They both came in the first 2, and it seems like to win this series, you pretty much have to score for about 4 goals so far is kind of what it seems like. At least these last 2 games played in Dallas, winning team had to score a lot, so I don't think that's going to change as they come back to Calgary. I know both games in Calgary in the first 2 were pretty low scoring, but I think final score tonight you're going to see kind of a middle ground, probably a 2-1 game. I think I'll go, and I'm actually going to flip this around, and I'm going to take Dallas in this one. And I don't know what it is, but I haven't seen anybody really stick it to Calgary like this all season. And with the way they played, especially the first 2 games in Calgary, I mean, they held the Flames to 1 goal on their home ice in those first 2 games. So they outscored them, and Dallas outscored them on the road in those games. So I'm taking Dallas because for whatever reason, they've been playing better in Calgary. So I'm going Dallas tonight to take Game 5.
That's fair.
Matt, you know what? I picked Calgary to win the series in 5, and you guys know that I get on me about Dallas. I'm picking Dallas to win tonight. And not only because of the Stars factor that you got, like Alex said, they're putting up a good fight against Calgary, and I know it's different throughout the regular season because you didn't have series, but like they're holding their own against Calgary, and a lot of people didn't expect
Calgary,
that. I didn't expect it.
I've said it. I mean, probably one of the most overrated teams. I'm sticking with Dallas here. Dallas is a tough, hard-nosed team. They stick to, the hard-nosed type of hockey that literally, I mean, Pittsburgh plays it for the most part. Washington is one of them. Boston is one of them. Boston is definitely one of them. And, Calgary is one of those flashy teams that tries all these fancy new tricks, and they try to get fancy, and they're getting their butts kicked. Man, I wish I could swear, but I'm not going to.
No, I feel it sometimes. You get, yeah. All right, well, let's go in here into the Ysn Power Rankings that were dropped yesterday before the show. We didn't have time to get to them, so we'll go into it now. This week, 6 now in baseball. Canfield is the number 1 team. This is going to flip, though, next week. Austintown Fitch just took Canfield down in back-to-back nights. So Fitch will take over that 1 spot next week. You can bet your money on it. But this was voted on Sunday, so those games had not happened yet. So I did also have Canfield as my number 1 team in the Valley. I mean, you came into that one. They were 15-3 on the season. They had gotten on another big win streak. They hadn't lost in the state of Ohio in almost, I think, a month's time. They had lost back on the 5th to Boardman of April. So it had been a month since they had even lost in the state of Ohio. They went out of state and were able to win some big games out there. They lost, just the ones to Bishop Ireton from Alexandria, Virginia. They came back here. They dominated. They got the win back against Boardman. They got a win against Cardinal Mooney in pretty dominating fashion for the most part. And they looked pretty good to go into Austintown Fitch on the Monday and Tuesday series, but they ended up dropping them both. And Tuesday was actually a pretty dominating win for Austintown. They took it 5-2. They were down on scene 3 at Bob Scene Park. So, they were drawing quite the crowd. But Canfield, they were looking good coming into this week, so that's why I gave them the nod. Number 2 team, who I will have at number 1 next week, Austintown Fitch. Now they were 14-4 going into it. Now they're 16-4, and I believe with that win, as I'm going to look at the rest of their schedule, as if they win tonight's game against Boardman, they are the All-American Conference Red Division champions this season. So it's really great, quite incredible. Boardman will tie for second place with Canfield, but I think they'll have since they split the series, it'll be tied for second place between Boardman and Canfield, and Austintown Fitch could have a commanding win here for the All-American this season. So they have really been absolutely phenomenal, and you got to give credit to Fitch on both baseball and softball. Probably look into it next week. Fitch is going to be number 1 in both power rankings, so pretty incredible what they're doing down there. They have been just awesome to watch this season. I think I got to see them, once earlier, and they are living up to the bill this season. Number 3 team on here was South Range. I actually had South Range sitting down at 5. I think they're a little bit back. They are starting to get those wins back. They got a win against Girard on Monday, but they were coming off a loss last Saturday against Salem, so I had to give Salem the bump here and move them up over. And I think Warren JFK, they've gotten back on that horse in these last couple of games. I mean, their only losses are to teams divisions ahead them. Really, no one down in their division has even really been close to them. They dominated against Rootstown. They got Cardinal Mooney going up tomorrow. I won't be on that game, unfortunately, because it should be a pretty good one to see. Division 4 versus Division 3, two pretty high-ranked teams there. But I had JFK as my number 3 spot. I know they said at 4, but I thought they were the best. I had Salem as the 4-seeded ahead of South Range, really because they just won the head-to-head, and unfortunately, they also lost the West Branch last night. That doesn't go into it. They had lost to Louisville the day after beating South Range, or a couple days after beating South Range, but I think you have to take into account some of those recent matchups, and especially they were playing pretty hot here in the late stretch of the season. I mean, they have, coming into Sunday's vote, they had one loss in the last about month. So Salem really jumped right back into discussion here for these power rankings, and that doesn't take anything away from South Range. They're a good squad, but they took 2 losses there to finish out the month of April, and that kind of factored into it. And they went out there against Struthers, and I know they won it 8-3 on the road, but it wasn't all that impressive. They beat Poland to a little bit better of a win, but I wasn't buying into what South Range was putting out there, as especially after the Salem loss. I thought Salem was a little bit more deserving the way they've been crushing up the power rankings. But my 6th team as well is a little bit different. I had Ursuline, who didn't even make the rankings this week. Ursuline's 12-7, probably a team to slip out. But I think a lot of people are looking at that loss to Warren JFK, and JFK is a really great team. That's why I put JFK up there at number 3. But I think Ursuline's probably a team on the way up, but they put together some good wins. They're going to be a team that goes far here in the playoffs, in my opinion. But, team here at 6 in Mohawk, I had them trailing right behind in 7. Beautiful team over in Bessemer, PA. I mean, 118-51 is that scoring so far this season. Got a 12-4 record, and they're winning. And the biggest thing about it is they're winning big. A lot of these games are run rules for them, so you got to watch out over there in the AAA and the WPIAL league in Pennsylvania. Mohawk's going to make some noise. I had Louisville sitting at 8th, directly in the same spot as they are here in the power rankings. 14-8 going into the Sunday vote. So, they were coming off some good wins. They lost to Glen Oak. It was the first game of a doubleheader. Sometimes you have to look at those doubleheaders a little bit loosely, but you look at the week they were having going into that. They put up wins against Boardman and Salem, 2 teams that obviously one of them are sitting right now at 5th here in the power rankings. So Louisville is definitely a team that looks like they can make some noise here to finish out the season. They got Canton South, New Philadelphia, and Highland from Berlin coming in to finish out the season. They got Nordonia tonight. Should be an interesting end of the season, but probably a good chance for them to finish off 18-9. They're going to be a team to watch out for. My 9 spot, not on this list, but it's actually the Springfield Tigers. They have such a small sample size, but they're 7-1-1. Their last game ended in a tie on Thursday, but they came out Monday and they won it 12-0 over Western Reserve. The tie against Girard, they went 9 extra innings. I think they had to stop it due to lighting, because I think they ran out of sunlight in that game because it went so late. But they looked phenomenal this season. I believe they just came away with the MVAC Scarlet Tier Championship over Mineral Ridge, with no games left on their schedule here at the moment. They did add one actually against McDonald, but even a loss here in conference would drop them just to 6-1. They have the title look to be all wrapped up unless they add another conference game in here. I really like the way they're moving, and I think some people got to start looking back their way. And my 10th team is Crestview. They're kind of falling out of it. I think I might drop them out after last week, but they were coming into it. They were looking like they're on their way out, but they got the big win back against Matthews, and they put up a lot of runs in those 2 games. Vienna Matthews, man, not a team to mess around with. They're 11-4 this season, and they got a pretty good ranking going into the playoffs here. They got hold on, I got it. Yeah, they got the 4 seed down in Division 4 for Fairport Harding, right behind Mineral Ridge. So definitely a team to watch out for. And Crestview got a big win over them and really stalled out some of their momentum because they were charging pretty quickly here into the end of the season. But Crestview is a team that they're still in a position right now to take the MVAC Gray tier. They're in 3rd place behind Garfield and Champion, and They have Brookfield in the schedule tonight. They got Champion down on the 13th, and they're going to have JFK to end out the season. So that's my top 10. West Branch and Hubbard, I like them both. I had dropped Hubbard out of my power rankings. They started going on a little bit of a skid here, and it looked to be the perfect opportunity that some other teams that were kind of starting to heat up here at the end of the season got that chance, especially with last week. Hubbard lost 3 games between the last 2 Fridays. So it was kind of a moment for me. I was like, I don't have a lot of confidence. I don't really have a lot of confidence either in what their last 2 wins against Struthers. It was one-run wins in both games against Struthers. And if Hubbard's supposed to be the team we have him billed as, I'm not too confident in it. I didn't have Columbiana in. They're coming back up for me, but they took a bit of a skid. And West Branch, their team I got my eye on. Not a ton of confidence going down that way, though. So that is the power rankings here for baseball in Youngstown. Guys, any thoughts on it?
You said tonight there was a game that can clinch a division or conference, I mean?
Yeah, Fitch and Boardman.
That
should be a good one, All-American red.
I like that. I like having something on the line to play for.
Yeah.
And it's getting that time of year. I like it.
Yep. All right, well, those are the power rankings, power hour, and the running point that show on before us that I forgot his name there for a minute. Went over softball. They all know a lot more than we do about it. So if you want the full softball analysis, you can go over there and they'll talk about it some more a little bit, I'm sure, as the week goes on. But let's get into the NBA playoffs now, since we started baseball yesterday. Everybody's ready for this to finish out a little bit. I mean, we're coming down to the wire, man. Bucks, Celtics tonight. Warriors with a chance to clinch against the Grizzlies. So we'll start off with the first game. Bucks, Celtics, game 4. Guys, thoughts, go.
Before we get into this real quick, I'm sorry. I just want to put out there, Badger Braves got their first win yesterday, and they rolled. So
they got their first win?
Yeah, they won 11-1. They had to bring in emergency players. They brought in Jack Lendak and Cole Burnett because half their team was sick. Jack Lendak played baseball last year, but they were mostly doing track this year. They had to bring them in as emergency players
and they pulled off the win. I would say keep them on the squad.
Cole Burnett came right up to me. He's like, "Matt, I haven't played baseball since I was 10." And he nearly had a single. If it wasn't for the 6'5" shortstop, he would have had a single. Like, he almost blooped it in, and he was so upset. I'm like, "Oh man, he almost had it." So, well,
Matt, your Skinspin Badger team, they got a favorable matchup, honestly, to start out. They might get a playoff win. They got Letonia coming in, and they've had just as many struggles as you guys have this season. So I wouldn't count them out in that first round. I think they got a chance.
I'll be in Brookfield tonight too. They've been a little scrappy this year.
Yeah, so they have been, especially the softball. But Matt, Letonia hasn't had a win. They've been outscored 39 to 195 in 13 games.
Man.
Dang. And they just got beat 25-4 last night.
Oh, geez.
Against McDonald's. McDonald's a pretty good team. Watch out for them, too. They're 13-4.
But I like that Brookfield softball team, too. They're a heck of a team. But hopefully I'll be on the call for the baseball team tonight. So hopefully they can get a win there.
I got softball playoffs tomorrow with Mooney. But now let's head it into the NBA. Celtics and Bucks, game 5 tonight. Boys, what are your thoughts? Mike, let's start with you here.
Dude, this is tough. This series is tough. I think
I'm putting all the pressure on you to start.
No, it's okay. It's okay. With Milwaukee, I think it's starting to finally show that, how important Chris Middleton was and how much they miss him, because maybe argue that in the last game especially that Boston found something, and I think Jason Tatum's finally coming alive. The first 2 games in this series, he really wasn't playing himself, so I don't know. This series is tough tonight. It really is. I'm not saying Celtics figured out how to stop Giannis, because they don't stop Giannis, but I think he misses Chris Middleton. You can tell in his game. He misses Chris Middleton. I think, he likes catching his passes going downhill.
Well, especially with that Chris Middleton thing, they've played together, last 6 years? At least, maybe more, at least at this point. But those two have built up a solid connection. That would be like splitting up Steph and Clay, and you kind of see it when that happens. Neither one is as great as they are when they are together. I mean,
well, yeah.
How about maybe even a better example of that, LeBron and Kai Reed? Those two together are unstoppable. And, I don't care how long it's been. Kyrie hasn't looked like the same ever since, he left Cleveland. And you can almost say the same about LeBron. He hasn't looked like that guy that made the 3-1 comeback since then.
Yeah, and I think, it's affecting Giannis' game a little bit because Giannis likes to get downhill. When Middleton's playing, he likes to get those passes up top of the key and drive downhill, and he has to do it on his own now. So I think that's a big change in his game. But it seems like Boston figured something out in that game 4. It feels that way at least. So going back home, that's big for them.
And I think maybe the big thing for me coming into tonight's game and this series so far, especially to do with Chris Middleton's injury, is 3-point shooting. Boston has won the stat category, and that's kind of where you've seen this Milwaukee Bucks team take that next step in the last few years. Is their 3-point shooting has gone from mediocre to a lot better, and that's also come with Giannis learning to shoot from the outside a little bit. He's not still great at it, but Chris Middleton was the main focal point and sometimes a good outlet passer when Giannis is driving, the lane closes, kick it out to an open Middleton, and they're able to get that down. But in this series, they've shot under 30% from 3-point, while Boston's been up there at 37%. Free throw shooting has been awful for Milwaukee at 73.9. Boston is 10% higher at 83. Even points in this series have gone towards Boston. The only stat that really sits far in favor for the Bucks is rebounding. They have 5 more rebounds per game right now than the Boston Celtics, but the Celtics out-assist. They out-block, surprisingly, by about 3 per game. And Milwaukee's able to limit their own turnovers a little bit more. Now, they have shot 1% better from the field. Actually, not even a full 1, a 0.3% better from the field here this series. And I think you go into tonight's game, Boston figured something out, and Jason Tatum has done a great job guarding Giannis. Granted, Giannis is still putting up 32 points per game. Jason Tatum is just at 22.5. But Giannis right now is doing pretty much everything for his team. And we saw it when it happened with LeBron. And I think Giannis is getting up there near similar status here in the Eastern Conference of it runs through Milwaukee, it runs through him. And I think we're waiting to see if he can be the guy, because I don't think it's necessarily been on him the reason they've lost, because he's done his job all outside of, I think, what was it, game 2 in which they lost. So coming in here tonight, guys like Drew Holiday, they got to step up. Brook Lopez, you got to be better. When they've been on the floor, I mean, differential's been in the negatives. They got to get that back around. Give Javon Carter a little bit more playing time, because he's only getting 10.8 minutes per game. Well, his plus-minus right now for the team is higher than anybody else, and only one other guy is in the plus in that category, and it's Giannis. You got a couple guys at 0 that really haven't had any playing time. But the guys that are getting the majority of minutes right now, they're all negative in the plus-minus differential right now. You got to find a way to turn that around. You got to find a way, really. The key guy for this team in the Boston Celtics that's kind of getting left out because of the noise caused by Jason Tatum and what he's done, it's Derek White and Al Horford for this team. You look at their plus-minus splits right now. The two of those combined for 18.3 in the positive for the Boston Celtics, and that's a direct correlation to why they're winning. Al Horford is looking like his old self, pulling down 11.3.
They made him mad.
1.5 blocks as well. And you look on the side for Derek White. Now, he's not scoring a lot in total, only 8.8 points per game. But, when he shot it, he's shooting 38 from three-point percentage. He's only taking about 3 per game. He's only shooting 37% from the field, but most of those are coming on three-point attempts. But he's getting to the free throw line, and he's converting, and he's getting assists. He's even rebounding. He's getting some steals, some blocks. His defensive impact has really been something that hasn't showed up a ton in the stat sheet, but it's something that's really helped out this team. And the more minutes he plays, he already got 25 so far. The more he's out there, the better this team is going to be. And I think we got to give a lot of credit to Jaylen Brown in this series. He is the forgotten younger child of this Boston Celtics team. I thought he was going to be better than Jason Tatum when we saw these two a couple of years ago taking on Cleveland, a couple of times. I thought Jaylen Brown was going to be the guy for this squad. And so far in the series, he hasn't been far off. 21.8 points per game, just 1 point less than what Tatum is doing for the squad. He's putting together 4 assists per game, 7.5 rebounds, shooting at 41% from downtown, 50% from the field, and 90% from the line. Jaylen Brown is a true difference maker for this team. And if Derek White, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Jaylen Brown all have their stuff in tonight, Celtics are taking it at home. And I think they will. I got Celtics going at it for Game 5.
I'm going Boston here, too. I like what you were saying about Jaylen Brown and Tatum. And, they haven't stopped Giannis, but they have, significantly slowed him down. I've seen that. And I can say this word. They really pissed off Al Horford in that last game. He turned on this other channel, and he was just like, I saw the clips. He's like, oh, like he was in the mode. He was in the mode. He's playing like he was 10 years younger. Like, holy cow, where does Al Horford come from?
Right.
He's playing like the way he played with the Hawks. Remember when he was with the Hawks, and he kind of gave Cleveland a headache, even though we swept them. But those were close games.
We swept them both times.
Yeah, but all the games were like within 3 points, so it was still a headache, in my opinion, to try and get over that hump. Like sweeping them, beating them 4 times that close, like that's tough. So, hopefully he can keep that up. If Al Horford plays like that, Boston's going to the championship, man. I put it on there. I put that on. I put money on it.
I already said it. I thought Boston was my favorite to come out of the East, so I'm right there alongside that. But, Mike, what's your thought? Who are you taking tonight?
I think the thing with Milwaukee is they had 108 points in Game 4, and they didn't really shoot that great. From 3-point range, they were 9-27. Make a couple more of those, you're back in it. You do that on the road. I know it's a little bit difficult to do on the road for your role players, but you do that on the road, you win this game tonight. So I'm actually going to flip it from you guys and go Milwaukee.
Okay.
I think they're going to come out for some reason. I know it's different with defending champs and title favorites when they're on the road. Their guys find ways to make shots, and I think they're going to.
Yeah, when you win a championship, you have to learn how to win on the road. You can't just sit back and win it at home.
And they got their one on the road too, and I think they're definitely capable of getting another one in the series.
Yeah, for sure. I just know Boston can be tough. Hard to play in. Yeah. Other series tonight, though. Golden State and Memphis. Ja Morant done for the playoffs here. He's out with
so is Memphis
soreness, and you say that, Matt, but didn't everybody say coming into the playoffs Memphis was better without Ja? Does anybody remember that? We were coming.
I remember that.
I don't recall people saying they were better without him.
This Memphis Grizzlies team was near undefeated without Ja Morant on the roster.
That won
Anybody
some
remember
games,
that?
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember it? Okay, cool.
I remember
because
that. But...
I'm telling you tonight, they're going to turn things on. Ja's not in. I think they win. I don't think Golden State's getting the gentleman's sweep. I think because of Ja Morant's injury, it turns the series around. Because we saw what this team was without Ja Morant, and they were a really good team. That's why people got so excited of when Ja came back and what this team could accomplish, and we saw that in the first round. And now you're seeing it here. This team's got to make the step up without their man off on the court. Ja Morant in the series is averaging 38.3 points per game. Steph Curry, who right now is leading the team with a 3-1 lead, he's only scoring 28.3 points per game. The leading rebounder belongs to the Grizzlies and Steven Adams. The leading rebounder right now for Golden State is Andrew Wiggins. But someone else has to pass the ball because Ja Morant was going 8.3 assists per game. Jaren Jackson, though, is holding down the fort underneath, and he's getting 2 blocks a game. I told you, I love the duo of Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams. Their wingspan and strength alone is going to be locked down. Their perimeter defenders have to step up, though. Dylan Brooks has to make some noise. Desmond Bane's got to make some noise. Tillman, Melton, Anderson, they all got to do some, especially Zaire Williams. Somebody's making the big step up tonight. I think Jaren Jackson is going to make a lot of noise here tonight. I think he's going big, and I think with Ja Morant out, I think this opens the door for a guy like Jarrett Culver to get a little bit more playing time, and I think he's got a potential to make something pop. I got Grizzlies.
Go ahead, Matt.
That's a fair statement. I do remember when they went on that run without Ja Morant, but I know they did it. I'm not saying they're going to come back and win this series, but if they're going to if they need to turn it on, they can. So they could win this game, but I don't know. I don't know who to take. Mike, go ahead. Give your take.
Okay, so Alec brought up the point about their record. It was awesome during the regular season without Ja. I think it was 25-4 or something like that.
20-5 without Ja Morant, and they were 36-21 with him.
But I think
who'd they play?
In the games that they were 20-5 with, they went against Sacramento, Toronto, Oklahoma, Dallas, Miami, Dallas, LA, Houston, Philly, Portland, Sacramento, Portland, Clippers, Pelicans, Indianapolis, Houston, Brooklyn, Indy, Milwaukee, Golden State, Spurs, Phoenix, Utah, Denver, Boston.
Okay, yeah.
And they won a majority of those.
Yeah, so there's about half.
Including, remember, they put 152 points up without Ja Morant back on December 2nd against Oklahoma City. And they also beat the Phoenix Suns 122-114 just a month ago.
Alec, I'm sorry. Was Golden State on that list? I didn't think I heard.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, they beat Golden State without John Morant 123-95. I'm telling you,
clearly
Memphis
do it.
is taking this tonight.
They're in Memphis too. I'm going Memphis. They're in Memphis. Oh yeah.
I flipped Mike here, Matt. Do I got you spinning?
You're not me.
Okay, fair enough.
I just think I understand. I don't know what people are saying.
I don't think they're going to win the series, but they.
I don't know what people were saying as far as, writers and stuff like that throughout the season with Morant's, the record without Ja, but I don't recall anybody ever saying Memphis was better without him. We all know John Morant makes them a better team. And with Golden State, we all know this. I know this. I've watched them just as much times as you guys have throughout this time they've had this run. Closeout games, they don't mess around. I think Memphis can keep it close tonight, but I think it's Golden State has this tonight. I think, and I'm going to keep hitting on the same point I've been hitting on the last few weeks since the playoffs started. They are playing the best basketball, at least right now. To anybody in this, you guys can argue Boston. It's Golden State right now, and I don't see them. I know they slipped up a little bit in the game in Game 4, but they found a way to win. They're going to close it out tonight.
Yeah,
I still think they're going to win the series.
State is the favorite to win it. They're going to take this one away. But TV Sports Magazine, Beale Street Bears, and MemphisFlyer.com were all sources that were talking about Grizzlies being better without Ja.
Well, they're wrong. They're wrong.
Well, I was just saying you didn't know who it was.
Well, I didn't know of any. At least from national people, I didn't know of any. But they're wrong. I'll say it right now.
Regional writers, they're going for the stories. So,
but Matt,
it should be fun to see either way.
You keep saying you still think they're going to win. Golden State's going to win the series. They are going to win the series.
Yeah, I don't think they are. They are, but I think Memphis can pull one of these games off.
I'm hoping for it. All right, well, Mike, let's go into baseball and let's look at your squad real quick because they lead it 1-0 over the Dodgers in the bottom of the stick,
and they beat them the other night.
Actually, they beat them. It's 3-0. I don't know what you're looking. I just saw it's 3-0.
MLB.com is way behind then.
I got CBS pulled up.
Yeah.
It's still the 6th inning, dude. It's Pittsburgh Pirates. They find a way to blow it.
Did they lose the second game?
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the score last night. 11-1.
Oh, jeez. But they can take the series.
I'm happy with taking one from the Dodgers because I think they, other than before Monday that was, they lost 17 straight games, not series games, to the Dodgers. So I would have took one game. I would have been happy with one. But if they take 2 out of 3 from them, dude, sign me up.
I do have to mention though, Pirates lost 2 out of the 3 games to the Cincinnati Reds. I called for the sweep, but it was close.
But then if they win this, they find a way to they could take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. That's the Pirates for you guys.
Or then they have another 4 games coming up against the Reds, so we'll really see them go.
Hey, the Reds are catching fire though.
Crap.
I think Monday night the Reds put up 10 runs. Yeah, 10 runs on the Brewers, so they're finding something, I guess.
I told you, watch out, since he was going to make something happen. I said they weren't going to stay down forever. I mean, I mentioned it. They had a really hard schedule so far in the season.
Yeah, they have. And they're up 8-4 right now against the Brewers. They're up again. They put up 8 runs right now. It's 6th inning. 8-4 against Brewers right now.
Yeah,
their bats are coming alive, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see, but at some point things are going to switch. It happens every season. You just have to wait for the team to get hot. We see so many early season slumps. Okay, Mike, now I got your 3-0 MLB.com finally updated, but Yankees are leading the Blue Jays right now. Those are the 3 games on at the moment. But Mike, obviously you think your team's going to pull off the win here against the Dodgers. At least you're hoping for it.
I'm hoping. I'm not thinking.
This is the one time the Dodgers bullpen, though, this season probably hasn't been on their best game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, are they letting off the gas a little bit? Is that what's happening in this series? Mike, you've seen more of this than I have.
Well, I didn't watch Monday night because it was on the same channel as the Penguins played, so they weren't on. I was watching the Penguins game. Last night, I watched a couple innings, and the rout happened. I was like, I'm going to go watch hockey. But I had the first few innings of this game on because it started 12:30. The show started at 2. Dodgers had a guy making his debut, and the Pirates had, I know it was 2-out situations, but they had bases loaded back-to-back innings with 2 outs. Got nothing. I'm like, come on, this guy's making his debut. You guys can't at least push across 1 run. And they didn't do it. I was like, well, it's time to go do the show. I don't feel like watching this anymore. But no, I'm going to try to go back and see how they find these runs. But I like it so far. 6th inning, they're going to find a way to close it out.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I mean, I'm kind of hoping for it. I was rooting for you guys to lose against Cincinnati, but I'm rooting for you guys to win against the Dodgers.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, and I just think people don't want to see the Dodgers win, and I'm right there. I'm on it. I don't want Dodgers to win. My neighbor is a Dodgers fan, and we have a friendly rivalry, so I can't ever root for them.
I think you said it yesterday, Alec, like with their lineup. Like the last couple of days I've been watching it. Like it is disgusting. It's literally an all-star lineup. Like I don't even know who their worst hitter is.
It's hard to find one over there.
Justin Turner. I don't know.
I don't. You go from Freeman to Trey Turner to Justin Turner to Bellinger, Max Muncy. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, going down the
Mookie
line.
Betts.
Mookie Betts. I forgot about Mookie Betts.
I guess you can say it right now. Their worst hitter looks to be Max Muncy, and he's batting 140 on the season so far, I believe. So but everybody else is right up there, right about 300. Bellinger's still down at 210. Turner's at 196. So they got a couple guys down, but that's only going to just get bounced right back up eventually here. So it's only a matter of time before these guys are all going 250 or over.
How many games has Max Muncy played? Because I know he was first base, but then Freddie came along.
He's been playing second. I think he's played second today, so they've been trying to work him there.
Hasn't he DH too?
And Gavin Lux, I forgot about him too. And how do they continue to find young talent when they make trades and bring in these big guys? Where does all this young talent? They just continually have it. Where does it come from?
Max Muncy has. Second time how many games he's played. It looks like he's played a majority of them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, probably a little about half.
Okay.
He's been playing second. Like I said, he started there.
He's got 27 games. All right, there it is. So he's played 27 of the team's 28.
Alec, did you hear about Cleveland today?
No, what happened with Cleveland?
So the Guardians White Sox have been postponed because Terry Francona has COVID.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, there's been multiple positive tests. That's a big one, though. But I guess among the coaches and the traveling party, I guess, I think they were all symptomatic, so they couldn't tell that they had it. They weren't, so they couldn't tell that they had symptoms. But hopefully, I mean, Terry, he's gonna be sidelined. He's gonna be sidelined indefinitely. DeMarlo Hale is gonna take over for next series again. Hopefully, I mean, the guy's had multiple health problems over the past couple years. He's 63 years old, so I mean, my heart and prayers are going out to him and his family because this is bad right now.
Yeah, it sucks for Francona because he's had enough problems over the last couple of years.
He can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you guys see what else happened with Max Muncy a couple days ago?
No, what happened?
Like
Wilson Contreras, the catcher, ball got free, and he ran around and just grabbed him right down to the groin and like.
What was that all about? Like, it wasn't even there.
What?
It wasn't even in that area.
Well, no, it like stopped right behind Muncy's foot. So like he used it kind of like to spin himself around. I'm watching the Twitter clip, and it looks pretty funny.
Oh, it is very funny. I don't know, Matt, did you see it?
I'm
Matt's gonna start laughing about it here, but
I think it was Sunday night.
What is
you
it?
Search Wilson Contreras.
Max Muncy, and it's one of the top stories right now. But how about the Houston Astros, man? 8 games in a row now that they've put some wins together on their bullpen. It's looking awesome. They're among the leaders in runs allowed in terms of less. You want the smaller number right now. Dodgers are in first place. Yankees are second, and the Astros are third right now in runs allowed so far. So that bullpen is really doing wonders for the team here for Houston, and it seems like their bats are starting to heat back up as well. Now they haven't had a lot of hard games, but you can see now they're getting these eight straight in here. They're turning something on, and I think it's definitely a big team to watch for. Houston's always one of them. As much as we don't like them, if they turn things on, they figure out what's going on, they're going to be nigh impossible to beat. They got wins over the Twins in their last games. They got the Tigers in a 3-game set. They took 4 games they took against them. They beat the Mariners before, so they found a good stretch to go hot. Their last loss came on May 1st to the Blue Jays. I think they're a team to watch out for.
Yeah, and I think with Houston too, and over the last couple of years, they've lost a significant player in the last couple off seasons. Correa and then George Springer a couple years ago. But they found guys to step up. I mean, and they also went out and signed some above average players like Nico Goodrum used to play with the Tigers. Matt, you know him. He's coming and played second base for him. He's filled in pretty nicely. So I mean, they found guys to step up, and I think that's what you like about them. And I think if it ends up being a race in this division between Astros and Angels, you can maybe even throw Seattle in there because they're hanging around. But if it's between Astros and Angels, that's going to be a fun race when it starts getting important in the middle of the summer and towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more on that. And, another team that I think is kind of shooting up the standings for me, a team to watch out for, you got to watch out San Francisco again because they've won their last 4. They're 5-5 in their last 10. But look at their bats this season, 148 runs scored, which is among the highest in baseball. Milwaukee's got 148. The Angels have 162, and those are the highest marks. So they're in the top 3 right now. Cleveland's actually at 145, but our bullpen's been abysmal at this point of the season. So, San Francisco team, if they continue playing like this, they're going to kind of slowly sit right there in the 3 spot behind the Padres and the Dodgers, who are going to fluctuate. I think the Dodgers got the 1 seed blocked up. I mean, they look so awesome. They're going to just roll the rest of the season with this lineup. So it's going to be between the Padres and the Giants to get those wild card spots. There's a good chance they might get 2 wild card teams out of this one. So San Francisco, I like what they got going on right now. And they're one of the few teams with a winning record against teams over 500. So I think that's something to watch out for. Other teams that have that winning record, the Mets, the Angels, and that's it. Oh, pardon me, and the Yankees. So very few teams have winning records at this point. But Dodgers do as well, pardon me, against teams against top over 500, pardon me. So, Giants, they're doing everything right so far. They got to win a few more games, get that last 10 record up. That's something you got to be. So I like what they got going on right now.
I like how you brought up this division because, I mean, it's not like Giants are playing terrible. I mean, no, they're in third. A lot of people think third place, they're just playing average. No, they're 18-12. I think, like you said, with the Dodgers, I think they probably have it locked up. But I think San Diego can give them a run for their money because they finally got the pitching.
Last year they did it for the majority and then completely fell off in the last half.
But I think that they improved their pitching staff this year and getting some other guys. And I think their lineup is just as – I mean, you're not going to be star-studded as the Dodgers, but their lineup is just as deep as the Dodgers. So they can maybe make a run there with the Dodgers and compete for that. But this is going to be a fun division. And they were talking about today on the Pittsburgh broadcast before I came on watching the game. There's not a team under 500 in this division.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. I mean, poor Colorado, man, sitting at 16-14. They'd be second place in just about every other division right now. Outside of AL East, they'd be sitting in 4th, and the NL Central, they'd be in 3rd place, it looks like. But every other division, they're 2nd place. They'd be 3rd in the AL West, too. So half the divisions, the worst team in the NL West is still the number 2 team.
But I think even going back to last year, this division was the best because team Dodgers won 106 games and they were 2nd place. That's just it's deep and they're all beating up on each other. And who picked the Diamondbacks to be 17-14 right now? Not too many people.
Yeah, I mean, you look at them. Same story there. I mean, 17-14 at this point, and they've done it against good teams too. It's not like they're doing this against bad teams and running their record up. Kind of what Colorado's done actually. Their record a little one-sided because they've only had 8 games against teams above 500. The Diamondbacks, they've had 22 games against teams over 500, and they got a positive record out of it. Now their run differential is still down, and that tells me they probably are going to drop here at some point. It's kind of what we saw in the NHL. You had some good teams that had that negative differential, and if that doesn't turn around, it does correlate to you dropping down. And that's actually what I'm concerned about with Atlanta right now. They're 14-17 and somehow in 2nd place. The NL East is god awful, and it's terrible over there. The New York Mets are going to win this simply because nobody else can win.
Yep.
At this point, it almost feels like every team in this division should just lose the rest of the season because they are that bad.
I mean, you got a rebuilding team in Washington, a team that's still kind of rebuilding in Miami, but they're trying to be competitive.
Miami has been rebuilding since they were introduced in the league 20 years ago, is what it feels like.
I like the progress they made. I'll be serious about that. I've liked the progress they made. I know Jeter, I think he's sold the team, he's not there anymore. He didn't really do much when he was there, but
no,
I like the improvements that they made. It's going to take a while for a team like them because nobody's just going to go.
They had Christian Yelich and Giancarlo Stanton. They had like 2 of the biggest pieces together, and they let him leave or traded him or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they got Jazz Chisholm, though, who's being a stud this season. Cool. I mean, he's making some big step-ups.
Matt, let's not act like our teams don't trade away people.
I know, but
I'm just saying.
Cleveland has been known for just throwing their best players away, so. They're just like, oh, you want a paycheck? Sorry, we don't do those in Cleveland. Yeah. Adios. Go. If you want a paycheck, you can go play for New York.
At least Miami has the weather on their side.
Right. What does Cleveland have?
3 good months of weather.
Yay. Lake Erie's awesome. I love Lake Erie. It's awesome. Actually, I do like Lake Erie. I can't say anything bad.
I like Lake Erie.
I'm not talking crap on it. I'm just saying.
Rather be
Miami, Cleveland.
Hey, we can talk crap on the state of Ohio. People from outside can't. That's how it works. Yeah. But Jazz Chisholm's been awesome for the Marlins, man. They got a guy to build around. I mean, they got George Soler down there, and Jesus Aguilar. So, I mean, they got some good players, but they need to put something together because they're in a situation now. They should honestly make some moves here before obviously a long way to the deadline. They need to make some moves here because they're in a division where, it might be harder to get that wild card spot, especially with how great the NL West is and the St. Louis Cardinals or NL Central potentially having a team up there with Pittsburgh or St. Louis looking for that wild card spot too. But if Miami wants to try and capitalize now, Atlanta's slumping. Now's the time to do something. And they've had it hard against some teams over 500, already 17 games. That's the majority of their losses have been against teams over 500. When this schedule gets a little easier for them, they got a big chance to capitalize. So I hope they do because the Marlins, this process is taking way too long. It's like being a Browns fan. Nothing's going their way. It doesn't matter what's going on. They can bring in a good player and they're still bad. So I want to see them turn it around.
I do too. It's been a long time since Miami's been good, so I change things up in this division. But like you said, that's why yesterday I was saying the Mets it might be a different year for them because this division's bad.
Yeah,
maybe the Braves could turn around, but the Phillies maybe can too. But the Phillies I still don't think they have enough pitching, so maybe this is the year for the Mets.
Okay, here's the big question then. So far, is Cincinnati still the worst team in baseball?
Yeah.
At this moment, no.
Okay, who is? Who do you got?
As we're talking so far this week, the way they're playing, they're not the worst team. Probably the Nationals, maybe.
Nationals are still 4-6 in the last 10 games. Cincinnati's 3-7. I would honestly either say the Cubs, Kansas City, or Detroit. Boston, I mean, they're 3-7, but they've had a rough schedule. I'm gonna, they should be better than what they are, but I still don't think they're one of the worst.
Alec, you know what? I agree with you.
We need single digit wins. So Kansas City, Detroit, and Cincinnati. That's my criteria right now. And out of those two, KC and Detroit have been the two worst. So at least in these last 10, Cincinnati's at least finding something.
I agree with what you said about Boston. They've played some hard teams, but it's Boston. I don't want to hear that. The payroll they have.
Yeah.
The team should be looking at them as a hard team, not them looking at other teams. So.
Right. All right, well, that's going to do it here for the Casual Sports Podcast. Sounds like we're out of things to say here. We're just about out of time as well. So Power Hour coming up next on ysnlive.com. We will see you all tomorrow. Alec Berna, Matt Morrison, Mike Wolfgang. Peace out.